Welcome to my channel. Join me to explore our solar system and beyond. We've done videos on the Gemini and Apollo programs before, but this one is special because it puts you in the astronaut seat with a 360-degree immersive experience of what they really saw in real time. This is a rare treat that only became possible thanks to modern technology. You can see out of all the windows from inside the capsule, just like an astronaut would have during re-entry. So strap yourself in and get ready for an amazing ride. This is the Apollo 11 capsule that brought Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin back to Earth after their historic moon landing. It's now on display at the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., but let's take a trip back in time. Imagine yourself as the crew of Apollo 11 returning to Earth after spending 2 days on the lunar surface. The command module, affectionately nicknamed Yankee Clipper by its crew, has just completed its 39th orbit around the moon, and it's time to start heading home. The service module, which contains the propulsion system needed to return to Earth, has already been jettisoned along with the lunar module, which had carried Neil and Buzz to the surface. And now the command module is filled with hundreds of pounds of moon rocks collected by Neil and Buzz during their 2.5-hour surface excursion. The Earth is rising in the blackness of space, and the astronauts are making their final preparations for re-entry into the atmosphere. They need to put on their bulky spacesuits, which are equipped with life support systems and are pressurized to keep them alive. They also need to strap themselves into the commander's seat and the lunar module pilot's seat located directly behind him. Once everything is checked and double-checked, the re-entry burn will begin. The engines of the service module will fire up and push the command module away from the moon. Now we're entering orbit around the Earth. The re-entry burn has placed the Apollo 11's command module into an elliptical orbit that will bring it close to the Earth's atmosphere. As the spacecraft approaches the perigee or closest point of its orbit to the Earth, the astronauts are getting ready for re-entry. The atmosphere is thick enough to cause significant aerodynamic heating, and the command module is designed to withstand temperatures as high as 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. To protect the astronauts inside, the command module is shaped like a big bullet with the blunt end facing forward. The heat shield is located on the bottom of the command module, and it's made up of several layers of heat-resistant material. As the command module enters the atmosphere, the air heats up in front of it, forming a wall of plasma that protects the spacecraft from most of the heat. The plasma also creates a bright white light that makes it look like the command module is on fire. The astronauts inside are strapped in and protected by their spacesuits, but they still need to follow a checklist to make sure everything is working properly. They need to make sure that the command module is stable and that the flight controls are responding correctly. They also need to monitor the temperature and make sure it doesn't get too high. If anything goes wrong, the astronauts could be killed. But if everything goes well, they'll be able to land safely in the ocean and splash down near the recovery ship. If you want to learn more about how the Apollo program worked, I've linked a playlist of videos below that cover everything from the very first suborbital test flight of the Mercury capsule all the way through the moon landings. Be sure to check them out. Now, it's time for re-entry. The Apollo 11's command module is hurtling towards Earth at a speed of 25,000 miles per hour. The atmosphere is heating up the command module and making it glow red hot. The astronauts are strapped in and protected by their spacesuits, but they know that they're in for a rough ride. Suddenly, the command module begins to shake violently as it enters the thicker part of the atmosphere. The astronauts are thrown around inside the spacecraft, and the G-forces are so strong that they can't even unstrap themselves from their seats. They just need to hold on tight and hope for the best. As the command module continues to shake and rattle, the astronauts can see the Earth getting closer and closer. They're almost there. In just a few minutes, they'll be landing in the ocean and beginning their long journey home. At this point, the astronauts need to deploy their parachutes to help slow the descent of the command module. Once the parachutes are deployed, the command module begins to slow down rapidly. The astronauts are still strapped into their seats, but now they can finally unstrap and prepare for landing. As the command module gets closer to the water, the astronauts can see the recovery ship getting ready to catch them. The recovery ship has a net that's used to catch the command module and bring it on board. The astronauts have one last check to complete before landing. They need to make sure that the net is in position and that the command module won't hit the ship when it lands. Once they're sure everything is safe, they can relax and enjoy the ride. And now the Apollo 11's command module is floating in the ocean, having successfully completed its journey back to Earth. The astronauts are safe and sound, and they can finally begin the long process of returning home. The recovery ship will bring the command module on board, and then the astronauts will be taken off and given medical checkups to make sure they're okay. Then they'll be flown back to the United States, where they'll be greeted as heroes. The Apollo 11 mission was a success, and the astronauts had done it. They had traveled to the moon and back again. I hope you enjoyed this unique opportunity to see what an Apollo astronaut really saw during re-entry. Thank you for watching. This really wouldn't have been possible without the incredible work of the team at the Smithsonian. Be sure to check out their website for more information on the Apollo program and other space exploration projects. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos about space exploration and the latest news from our solar system and beyond. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.